Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Anvil here, and I'm back. So I just wanted to announce that the participants for the first ORAS OU Invitational have all been released. So I'm just gonna go through the list, go through my favorite players, and you guys, if you want, you could put your favorite players in the comment section below and root for them too. Um, yeah, I'm very looking forward to this so much. You guys have no idea. ORAS has meant so much to so many people. It's probably the Gen 6 in general has probably been the gen where like a lot of people like picked up the game and became very popular. I know it started with like DPP and stuff. We watching those Wi-Fi battles on the internet on YouTube, and I think it really skyrocketed during ORAS too because they introduced the concept of megas and they brought light to a lot of previously not very much used bonds. So yeah, and guys like Blunder, all-time goats like Blunder, CBB, X-Ray, you name it, they're playing in this tour. So it's something to look out for. I definitely think this is gonna be a pretty fire tour. So let's get into the list real quick. So we have guys like John. Man, John number one. He is my go-to pick. I want John to win the whole thing, man. I really do. I really like the way he plays. I think for a beginner watching ORAS and trying to learn it, his play style is like easy to understand. Like he like you understand the logic behind his play. There are not many turns where you're like, why did you do this or something like that. But John is also very diverse at team building too. I've seen him use stuff like HO as well as some bulkier builds with Megalodias too. So definitely a guy I want to root for. Um, and next up, we have Santu. Santu is someone who should never be slept on. Santu had a pretty solid run in past SPLs, and he's one of those guys that uses like unconventional mods like Victini or like other stuff too. So very hard to predict what he's going to build in a week. He is very good at catching people off guard, and definitely a solid aggressive player to watch out for. So very solid pick. Pogis, Finnish player. I've heard about him a lot from Amir, and I also have heard stuff like him winning like 5 Passion championships or something. I remember that very clearly. He's a very solid player. Um, yeah, and he's built teams with Amir, and I know because of that, he is not afraid to use some Hida stuff. So definitely someone to watch out for. Guys like TDK and Gary Oak, I know I've definitely heard their names from the past, though I'm more of a newer ORAS player, so I might not know much about them. Um, yeah, if you guys are big fans of them, feel free to leave comment in the in the video. But next up, we have some all-time goats like Blunder, Poex, CBB, Pinch, X-Ray. Man, whew, this is gonna be crazy, man. We could see a Blunder versus CBB2 again, man. Whew, I'm getting excited just thinking about it. But yeah, I think this is gonna be really fun to watch. Um, there's some other guys too, like Relis, Sabella, BKC, and all-time goat too. Um, Splash had a really solid run in last SPL. He's also pretty diverse at team building too. I've seen him at least use like various different archetypes ranging from stall to HO and some BOs in there too. So definitely looking forward to what he brings. Zomog, I see him more of a Sun and Boon player, but he is definitely solid too. Um, I haven't seen much of his ORAS play, but I feel like he'll bring some heater stuff. Vileman, man, poor guy got hacked in the last SPO, but he is a very solid playmaker too. He's very good at playing aggressive, and I think he can go for it as long as he doesn't get hacked. Um, then we have some other all-time goes to Soul Wind, Eternal Spirit. We have Empo in there too, like she. Um, Definitely going to be an interesting one for sure. I'd say this tournament is like hella stacked. Like I know there's other invitationals and like ADV and stuff, but I don't even know that much. But these are like all-time goals. I swear, man. Like the only pageant goats I know at least are like Megan, Lavos, that sort of Astamatitos. But yeah, moving on to these guys. Uh, definitely solid players, and they're very solid builders too. So we can definitely see some. I feel like there's going to be some metagame shifts going on in this tour. So that's always something to look forward to. Bea, I see more of an SS player, but I feel like the ORAS is solid too. Same thing that I see with Michael. Uh, let's see. We also have Urs. So Urs, for you, those of you who may not know, hard carrying the newer ORASers. Um, everybody's been using his teams, man. I swear, man. When I first started, I was getting hard carried by his teams. But Urs is really a nice guy. He's been a great contributor to the ORAS community, and I feel like he's one of those really generous people who goes out of their way to keep the community alive. So massive respect to him. His teams are very solid too, and his play is very solid as well. He won the I believe the 2020 SPL. So yeah, and he made it to finals of the previous SPL too. So definitely a solid player for sure. Um, no, sorry, not the previous SPL. The SPL before that. Whereas I think it was like him versus CVB. But yeah, um, yeah, definitely a solid player, good contributor, and he has very unique, teams too. So definitely we can see some heat up stuff from him. Lusa, as I mentioned, I feel like they had a very solid run in Small Tour, so we could see some decent teams from him, and he could, take a couple wins too. Raptor, we've known Raptor for a while. Raptor, really solid player. We could see him going quite far as well. Star, I feel like most people know who Star is. Had a very solid run last small tour too. Snyder, um, he had a very solid run, and I believe it was two SPLs ago when people were going crazy with screens, but he ended up positive, if I remember correctly. And I feel like people have been using his teams like on the low key too. So yeah, definitely gonna be interesting with seeing what he brings here. PJ, so he recently PJ changed his name from Prajpan, so most people probably know him as Prajpan, but he's a very solid player. I love seeing some of his replays from back in the day. They're pretty funny, but yeah, looking forward to what he brings. I know Sarah is a big fan of him too. Loved seeing some of the sets and Hita mods he brought in SPL. So yeah, Punny, another person I think more of in Sun and Moon, but he's definitely going to be pretty solid in ORAS. And Gondra as well. I've heard a lot about him from Keys, so yeah, something to look forward to. Tricking is another one of those older guys that I remember from like back in 2016 or whatever. So he's a really solid player from Italy. He's a really good manager too in SPL. I think his teams have gone pretty far. And then coming up in 31 and 32. So these two slots are going to be picked from plans. So these guys I know a bit better. Lax, very solid player. I know there's been some controversy in allowing him to play in the big tour, but he I feel like he'll be solid enough and probably prove his worth and end up in there anyways. So yep, so noisy, a guy from India. I don't know much about him to be honest, but he's here. He's got to be good, man. Devin, these two guys are my bros. Like Devin, my Pakistani brother, he is very solid in ORAS. Like I believe in the last ORAS PL, he went like 7-0, and he played pretty like convincingly well too. Like he didn't misplay at all. He played like a legit gold. Like I feel like he definitely make it out of play-ins into the big tour. Like that's how confident I am in Devin winning this, and he might even take the whole thing. To be honest, like you should not mess with young Devin. He's very versatile as a builder too. Like you would not expect the type of stuff he brings. He can. I think he brought like stuff like Glastrier or something in SPL too in SS. So definitely a guy you should not sleep out on. Big Gardevoir fan. I can respect. Respect that. He also uses stuff like Mega Ampharos. So he's definitely someone I want to vote for in players at least. Amir, man, we've been saying so much about Amir recently. Amir is one of those guys that I met a while back, and then I've like always like kept in touch with him. His teams are very solid, and I think his breads like some of them can be a bit wacky, but some of them are actually like pretty fire. Like he passed me a Volcanian spread a while back, and I've always been using that. Same thing with the talent spread he gave me a while back too. So definitely a guy you should not sleep out on. Um, he's very solid at playing too. The only thing is he is very prone to hacks. I don't know what kind of black magic he does, but it's definitely taking its toll at times. But if he stays out of the hacks and if he doesn't psych himself out, I think he can go far too. Manit, um, I remember him from last SPL. He had pretty solid wins versus like X-Ray and Vileman, but yeah, I'm looking forward to what he brings here. Next up is ACR1, aka Enzo. I think I saw him play versus BKT recently. He's a very solid player as well. Um, he's played in World Cup. He's played in other tours too. But yeah, definitely solid ORASer. I don't know much about his team building abilities, but I know he can play well. So that's something to always look out for. Speaking of someone who can play well as well, Saboris is one of those guys I remember from way back in the day. His infamous replay versus Blunder with that tail glow manaphy. Oh my gosh, man. But other than that, he is a very aggressive player. When I was first learning ORAS, I kind of like modeled my play style after him. And CVBs, like I really like the balls to the walls, offensive aggressive plays. And I think he could go far. He knows how to play the game well, and he's pretty good at reading people too. Definitely a scary guy to watch out for. No matter who he's up against, he always has a chance of winning. It's very hard to count him out completely. So Savoris, and in also I should probably mention that in I believe it was Pokemon Perfect PL, he had a pretty solid record there. He was able to beat guys like John, and yeah, he's definitely a guy that you should watch out for. Galvank, also a solid guy. He is I feel like he's known for bringing some off meta mons and teams, so you'll see him pull up with like Mega Steelix and stuff like that. So definitely something scary to go up against, and they're pretty solid too. So the last thing you want to ever see on a battlefield is a Heat Master that can play well. So Galvank is one of those. He just needs to watch out for bringing too much heat, such that it ends up backfiring for him. So yeah, but very solid player as well. He, I don't know much about him, but I'm pretty sure like he he's a pretty solid player too. I think I've seen him play for World Cup, and he's probably if I remember correctly, French, either French or Italian. I'm sorry, man, but definitely he's definitely solid if he was playing for one of those teams. Bush Tush, man, I believe he had a what's it called, recent victory in a tour. He is a very solid player too. I've seen him play in small tours. Definitely a guy you should not sleep on. It gets far in like a lot of tours. I believe he got pretty far in small tour. He's also gone pretty far in ladder tour too. So definitely a guy you should watch out for. Same thing for Friso. I believe I've seen Friso a lot in small tour too. I don't know much about them, but I do know they play a lot of ORAS. But yeah, next up is Gmake. I remember Gmake from his match with the ABR way back when. But I've seen some of his recent replays. I do like this guy a lot because he brings a lot of heat mons, and he is good at using them. I've seen him use Mega Sceptile. So as a fellow Mega Sceptile enthusiast, you have my respect. Joya, he's pretty good too. He's gone pretty far in ORAS seasonals, and he's also done well in other tiers like SS and Sun and Moon. He is he's pretty solid, like, to be honest. I think he is good at bringing like different teams, like in the sense that like you would not expect him to bring certain stuff and he brings it anyways. So like I remember I think I was using like a Mega Sceptile or something team. He brought Webs versus me, and I was like, oh shoot, I was not expecting that. But yeah, he's a pretty solid player, and he's very versatile in terms of teams too. So definitely a guy you should watch out for. Seasons, Young Drip Seasons, esteemed Copagus user. Um, yes, I do like the types of teams that Seasons brings. Um, Definitely some heat up picks in there, but they're really solid as well. Like they're not like heat up for the sake of being heat up. They're heat up for the sake of they have a certain niche in a meta, and he takes perfectly good advantage of those mons. So definitely, I'm also rooting for Seasons too, man. I've known Seasons for a while, and I think he's a pretty solid player. Um, and he has some notable victories against some SPL players too. So definitely a guy you should watch out for. Vulpix, I've known Vulpix for a while. I think I've heard from him primarily from Keys, but he always I always remember him as the guy who beat Keys. So I was like, oh man, this guy must be good. Um, but he is a pretty solid builder too. Like I kind of like the types of teams that he brought, at least in some of the tournaments that I've like seen him in. Um, I think he would go far as well. Like he's definitely like I don't think he's played ORAS for a bit, but he could definitely bring himself back up to speed and into the main event too. So yeah, that's also someone to watch out for. Zokaru, also known as the Stall Lord, I believe. He's also like a heat up pick. I remember him from like really long ago. I remember him like making like Avalug stall in ORAS with like Mega Sableye. Um, he's very an interesting pick for sure. I'm curious to see how he does, especially in this metagame, with so much like HO and offensive teams in general. I'm looking to see if he actually builds stall or if he builds some sort of any stall or something. I feel like he'd be the one type of guy that would use like Mega Slowbro and make it work pretty well in the current metagame. But I'm definitely interested to see how it goes. I think I've seen him playing in some Smog tours too, but yeah. So that's the list right here, guys. I apologize once again for some of the names I do not know, but I definitely look forward to how it goes. We have some all-time GOATs playing in this. I'd say this is probably the most stacked tournament in Smogon history uh, for the current like time period, I suppose. And I think ORAS is like one of those metagames where like it's known by so many people, it's bound to garner attention if there's all like guys like Blunder and CPB playing in this. Um, yeah, that's definitely an interesting thing going on for it. I'm curious to see how it plays out because I feel like some of the problems we have in our metagame, or at least what seemingly seem like problems, like webs and screens with Volcarona and stuff. I feel like with players like these, it'll be very obvious as to whether something is broken or not. So I'm looking forward to how that goes. I'm also looking forward to the amount of innovation that may happen in this tour. It's very unlikely that you'll see people use copy paste teams because everybody in here is a pretty solid builder, and they're definitely going to do their scouting in terms of knowing what teams people have used before. So I think that's something to watch out for. But yeah, play-ins start next week. So I'll be uploading. I'll try to upload like every single one. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys around. Have a good one. Peace.